Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast and the Boss Superpower Series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, along with my awesome Superpower co-host, Lola Peters.
Oh, Annie, it's so good to be back. I love being in this Zoom room with you. Or it's not Zoom, but it's Riverside. But I love being in this space with you. I look forward to it.
We get to see each other, and it's been so long.
It's fabulous when we get back together because we have so much to catch up on.
I know,
right?
I know. Oh my gosh!
By the way, I love your outfit today. You look great.
Why? Thank you. My jean shirt or my denim shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's really cool about this is kind of, well, I should say it's deceiving maybe because it looks like it's denim, but it's actually like French terry. And so it's super, super comfortable. But, speaking of jeans.
I was going to say, what color are your jeans?
Well, I have good jeans. Speaking of jeans and advertising campaigns for our businesses, I mean, gosh, it's all over the news. I mean, the American Eagle campaign with Sweeney. I mean, she's got good jeans. And so it's a really interesting debate. I think it's something that we could absolutely relate to our own voiceover businesses in terms of associating with, now, first of all, like associating with a brand that may or may not be controversial or may or may not be on the side of, where your feelings align. I think that would be a really, really interesting topic, Law.
I love that topic because we hear that word floating in the industry now for quite a while, branding. Branding is connected to marketing, is connected to selling, right? And how you represent yourself and who you're connected to that helps you represent yourself as well. And making some of those concerted decisions on who you want to be attached to and connected to that really help you design your ethos of your business.
Well, they can help you be successful in the industry or maybe not. They can help you be controversial in the industry. It's such an interesting, now, one thing about that campaign for me, when I first saw it, I didn't think anything of it because I am a woman of a certain age. And I remember the jean campaign with Brooke Shields and Calvin Klein.
Yes.
And I just remember it, and so as a girl I think it was in elementary or high school, I can't remember when that came out, but it was the 80s, right? All I know is that I wanted a pair of Calvin Klein jeans because I wanted to look like Brooke Shields. Now, today,
didn't we all?
Now, I thought nothing of it, right? I thought nothing really horrible of it, but then it did become controversial because obviously she was, she was young when she did that ad, and it was a little bit sexually, promiscuous, some people would say. And so, today that type of advertising wouldn't fly, and I think people are comparing Sweeney with that because of she's got good jeans, you've got an attractive female in a pair of jeans, and of course American Eagle says it was always all about the jeans. It's not about not about the misconception that jeans JEANS is similar to GENES. So there's a lot to unpack there. I don't know, how did you react to it when it first came out? What were your thoughts?
Well, what's so funny about the Brooke Shields thing that you bring up? That's the first thing I thought of, is that everyone who's outraged about it is not old enough to remember the Brooke Shields, and that's what they were really copying. I think that was a copycat from 45 years ago.
Going back to the old, let's sell.
Yeah, but if you remember, Annie, there was another controversy hooked on to Brooke Shields at that time based on that commercial, because that was right around the time that she had shot Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon, yep.
And she was only like 11 or 12.
I think it was 13.
By that time, she was about 13, but she was still very young, and the mother was managing her. Yeah, and so there was a huge blow-up and controversy about this young girl doing these so-called sexually explicit commercials about my sexuality and my body. And I remember thinking, and when I saw it again, I thought, wow, how did she get those jeans on without showing us anything right in front of us? Like, I was amazed. It was like incredible. It was a Cirque du Soleil act. It was amazing.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, you know what? As a
right?
young girl, being media is so influential, right?
So
And the thing
influential.
is that as voice actors, we really have a part in playing into the media, right? Because our voices are representing brands. And for me, at the time, I didn't consider anything wrong with it. All I know is that I wanted to look like Brooke Shields in those jeans, and therefore I wanted the jeans. And I'll tell you what, it was an expressly popular
Yes.
campaign that made Calvin Klein a ton of money.
A ton of money. But if you look at it now as an adult and you listen from a voiceover perspective, her voice was very, very young, very kid-like, and very straightforward. She was trying to be, if anything, a little bit smart or intellectual versus overly sexy and sensualized. But yet
But
the
of course,
perception, the visual
right?
was
Exactly.
that.
That's exactly it. So there's a lot of things there, and if you were the voice of a campaign that was controversial, right? Would you, if it was something you believed in or didn't believe in, is that something that, as a voice actor, would you accept? And I think, or an actor, I mean, any kind of role, right? Do you accept those roles if they align with your belief system or your morals or your ethics or whatever that is? And how can it propel your business forward or not? I mean, there's just so much that we have choices in, and as well as influence in as voice actors. And we think sometimes we're hiding behind this microphone, but no, we're still a very intricate part of a media campaign.
Yes.
And so really, as a voice actor, how do you decide really is, oh, this could really propel my campaign if I decide that I want to align with this brand and be the voice of it? Or sometimes it's not even about being the voice of it. It's maybe working with that brand in any capacity. How is that going to affect your business? Because people have opinions. People always have opinions. And gosh, aren't they all over the place now that social media is prevalent?
They're the Wild West, we like to call it, right, Annie? It's the Wild West. And I would say, in my mind, it's likened to all the people, not just women, but men too, but certainly all the women who have said for many years, I am interested in doing romance novels, exotica work, XXX, Adult Swim as a voiceover talent. But I'm concerned about how my business is going to be viewed. I'm going to use an AKA, an alter ego, another name, another business name. And so I think that voiceover talent have been making these decisions for a very, very long time. Even though we don't have the visuals for the voiceover talent, we may have the visual for the work. And so for the work itself, may give visuals and vocals that are not aligned with the talent's vision of their business.
Sometimes you don't even know, right? I mean, you can tell a lot by the context of the script sometimes, but sometimes you can't. You don't know where that's going to end up. And again, that makes me think of deep fakes and AI, and you don't know where your voice is going to be used. But if you are, an active participant and you are aware, I think really the best thing you can do if these things are concerning to you, right? The more you know, the more you're educated, the better off you're going to be, because you can make those decisions to determine if you want to be aligned. I mean, there have been careers ruined by, wrong brand alignment, and gosh knows with today's political climate. I mean, it comes down to, and you know what, Law, it comes down to if you think about it, we're in a business, we need to make money, right? And guess what, so are companies that are advertising, right? They're in the business to make money. And so a lot of times our decisions are based on money.
Yeah, wake up, smell the coffee, right? Yeah. And it's like, who is to judge what one person or one brand identity or one company should or shouldn't be doing? It's really in the eyes and ears of the audience. It's really the perception. So as many people really disagree, fervently disagree, and are angered and outraged by that particular American Eagle campaign, you have a mass swath of people.
They're sold out. I'm just
saying. Who are buying everything.
That gene that
they can't keep it on the proverbial shelf.
Exactly.
Right? So Yeah.
And it's interesting because I read a couple of articles about it, and they, of course, American Eagle says it's all about the genes. It's always been about the genes, and in reality, it kind of is like a return back to marketing. Marketing for the last few years has been very concerned with, of course, the shift. Notice how the shift in cultural trends, right, to making sure inclusivity, diversity. Every body type is shown, and everybody is represented, which I thought was great. I mean, I love that. But apparently, if you're in the business, I mean, did it sell? I thought it did. Personally, I aligned with it better, and I consumed just like I did before. However, there's a huge another aspect to this to unpack about influencers, right? I mean, in reality, I mean, she's a famous actress, right? And so,
yes,
just like Brooke Shields, so if she's going to wear these jeans and feel good in them and look good in them, then that's going to really entice other people to buy. And or not, right? If they are, I mean, how many times, Law, and I have very strong ideas about companies and what they do with their money. So if they're known to, I don't know, do bad things, I will not support them by not purchasing. However, sometimes I'm not aware of things that companies do behind the scenes. And therefore, when I do find out, I then have a choice to make a decision whether I want to consume that, buy that or not. And I think that, again, as a consumer and as a voice actor, the more educated we can be, the better decisions we can make to determine if we want to align with that.
I would totally agree, and I would say the irony to me about talking about influencers online is, why are they called influencers?
Yeah.
They're called influencers because they have powerful influence over mass swaths of people who want to look like them, sound like them, live like them, whatever. So if we were to make a value judgment, we would have to make it evenly across the board between network television and social media and voiceover and radio and TV. That is just a no-go, which of course no one's going to do. We're not going to do that because, it's a free country and people are going to run their businesses how they run their businesses. But the point is you can't say that Sydney Sweeney and her representation is ill-conceived when you're affecting millions and millions of 12-year-old girls on Instagram to get that facelift or to get those eyebrows or to get those lash extensions to feel good about who they are.
Well, now, okay, you bring up a really important point here, right? To feel good about who you are. So what I do, because I do a little bit of fashion influencing. Now,
I know. You are an influencer, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Put your influencer hat on.
So my influencer hat is, and I've been multiple sizes. I've been big and I've been small, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never considered myself small, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Okay.
So depending on the size, right?
Okay.
I follow different influencers. I found, but for the most part, if you think about it, when I was a little bit bigger, I had an influencer who I loved her because she was bigger and she was confident, and she was beautiful. And I said, gosh, if I could just be confident. And, and as a matter of fact, people in my life I've known, I'm like, gosh, she's bigger and she's confident. I wish I could be confident like that. And then when I started to lose weight, then it's funny because I switched following the one influencer who her body type was a little bit bigger to an influencer that was a little bit more my body type size, or maybe even smaller, because it was then helpful. It was motivating for me or inspiring to me.
Sure.
And so in reality, and in every instance, right, the influencer made me feel better about myself, right? I was either motivated or inspired to people are going to say it might be healthy if you say, oh, I want to look like them. But in reality, when it came to my weight and my body size, it was more about becoming healthy. I needed to become healthy, right? And the clothes were pretty. I didn't have that option with these clothes at this particular size. So, there was something inspirational and motivational. And then there was the girl who I still follow. She's a bigger girl who is just beautiful at whatever size she's at. And it's really the message that she's saying that's really the most important thing. So I have
a question about that. that, Annie. And I know we're getting a little farther away from the voiceover aspect, but from a performance and business aspect,
Yes.
voiceovers need to be thinking about all of this and how you represent your brand and how you think
absolutely.
about what you do. My question is, you have a lot of these people, including like Lizzo, for instance. She was the first one that came to my mind,
Yeah.
who made it very public that they lost a ton of weight. And that they are very happy they did that, and very happy that they're healthier, and very happy at whatever they're at.
Yeah.
So it makes you question, well, wait a second, is this for branding's sake to have those brands out there because they know like a big part of the population is, say, has a certain look or a certain size or a certain sound, versus the reality, wait a second, versus versus the reality of the person actually feeling good in their life. I'm going to argue that they're performers and they're performing and that many of them don't feel good about some of the choices they've made in their life, and therefore they go and change it. Or their company representatives say, you need to change this brand because it is not resonating with the majority of our audiences. And we will never know how much influence comes from which direction. We will really not know that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and again, this is, I mean, for bosses out there, if you think we're going off topic, in reality, we're not, because we're talking about marketing and advertising, which directly affects us. I mean, that's where our voices are representing brands that have fluctuations in the way that they advertise and in the way that they market their products. And it's important for us to understand where it's headed, where the trends are, and really, what is it that matters? And then what is it that matters to you as an actor being a part of that campaign, resonating with a brand that may or may not be controversial, right?
And brands change. This is where you have to forgive yourself.
Yes.
They shift and changed trends
Absolutely.
over time, because that's the natural state of being a human being, is that you age, you change, trends change, whatever. Another one that comes to my mind, one of my favorite original rappers and then became actress was Queen Latifah, who I loved for so many reasons.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Right? Rubenesque woman, beautiful
Yep.
woman.
Yep.
Well, she went on a whole campaign. I can't remember what it was, whether it was Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem or whatever it was, but she became the brand ambassador of them to lose weight. And she had trouble doing it, and she never reached the target weight. When she didn't, they dropped her.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So my point is was that her? And it made me feel like, you know, when you use Tide or you use a laundry detergent, and then all of a sudden you've been using it and it's been good for years, and then it's like, no, all new, developed.
Yeah.
And you think, what have I been using that whole time? It wasn't really good. That's how it made me feel.
Well,
when
influencing, you know, and marketing, advertising, influencing, in their way, influencing, right? As opposed to, and I think that's why influencers became really popular, because it was real people. It wasn't companies. Well, it was the illusion of real people, right? Well, they are real people. Right. Oh, look. I'm not being paid for this, but a lot of times influencers, they get a little bit of a cut. I mean, I get a little bit of a cut. I'm encouraged to, try this top or this, this pants set or whatever, and then talk about it. So that I can get a little bit of a break or a deal. But I creatively love to curate outfits. And to be quite honest, the amount of time I spend at this point, because I don't do it full time, the amount of time that I spend, putting together videos and stuff, it takes a lot of time. That's a day of my weekend in reality. And I don't make half as much money as I do when I'm doing voiceover. So for me, that's just like a passion project. But what is it that voice actors, need to do? I mean, I think that you either don't realize that you are an intrinsic part of a brand that could or could not be, I mean, you probably know if they're controversial. It's the same thing with political voiceover, right? We talked about this not so long ago. Are you on a particular side of the fence? Are is your voice speaking things that align with what you believe in and your morals and your ethics? Or are you just voicing things to make money because it happens to be something that pays the bills?
Right. And really paying attention to what your audience is identifying your value as. Like, I can come in and say, well, I'm going to provide this. I'm going to do this. But I may not have the calling for that. I have to pay attention. Where is the calling of the audience?
Yeah.
And then go to the, if I want to, go to the full extent of that brand. Give them awareness of what it is, awareness of my, professionalism, my ethos in it, whatever that is. It's not always what I'm starting out to be is what it's going to be. I see that all the time, like a mismatch of brand knowledge. So someone would say, well, I do this all the time. I play this all the time. And I said, right. But what are you being hired for?
Yeah.
What you're being hired for might be very different than what you do in your side life.
And if you think about it, like if you align yourself with a style of voiceover that is, has a message, right, that may or may not align with cultural beliefs, that can be detrimental to your career. I mean, honestly, I mean, I've experienced it on levels with brands that I've been associated with, where if you're not careful. And, with the VO Boss podcast, right? If you're not careful, people will associate you with those brands as well. And, that can be detrimental to your career, to your livelihood. And that is something, sometimes it's not an easy decision. It's not an easy decision.
It's not an easy decision. You have to realize you're performing a part. So whenever you are in that what I call the awareness zone, that's like the industry awareness of who you are. Like I feel like I play two parts. One is the real person in the larger world who may or may not know me. And then the person, the mama who knows me, who people know me in the industry. And when I play that role, I know I'm always to some degree on. You're always on. And having that awareness that there is a performance value to what you do.
How interesting, because your brand, since I've known you, has evolved into Mama Law.
Yes.
Which, you know what I mean? Because I want to say it's because I started calling you Mama Law, because that's what I called my mother.
Probably.
Mama Law, and then it turned into Mama Law. But now, as Mama Law, known as Mama Law in the industry, right, you now need to be considerate of, okay, what does this brand speak about me? And if you were to do something that would not be Mama Law-ish.
Right. So I'm not going to go to Vegas and become a stripper anytime soon.
Would you be an erotica audiobook narrator? I mean, well, maybe not under Mama Law, but
see, there you go. Here you go.
Here you are unless you're going to be a character voice, right? Here you are. I know your voice. And unless you're going to be a character voice and I don't recognize that voice, right? Our voices are recognizable. I mean, some of us have immediately, like, I know this person's voice from long, far, far away. I can tell that voice. And I have that with some of my students that have distinctly unique voices, right? I'm thinking they probably can't go into, erotica character work if they don't want to know other people to know about it.
Yes.
If you want other people to know about it, that's fine. But for you, under that brand, there's a responsibility to that brand, right?
Yes, there is.
What you do, it reminds me of. Yes. It reminds me of. Oh my gosh, who was it? He was a comedian. He did the Affleck commercials. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Help me. Affleck.
I'm going through in my mind who did that commercial.
And he said something.
Who was that? Are you looking it up?
Yes.
You have to, otherwise it's going to bug you.
It's going to bug me. It's going to bug, and all the bosses are going, of course it was.
Who was that?
Oh my God. And of course, the first one says the Affleck actor who was dismissed from his role as the voice of the Affleck duck was, and then period. He was fired in 2011 due to offensive tweets he made about the Japan earthquake and the tsunami. Oh. And it is, oh my gosh, Gilbert Gottfried. There you go.
Oh, wow. How could we not remember that? Yes.
Right? Gilbert Gottfried. So,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
And that was, I think, when it first, at least when I was in the industry, when it first became evident that social media and what you do outside of your job in voice acting will have a direct effect, if it's offensive enough, right, on your job. And, nowadays people have to be careful on social media, what they're posting, and because companies can now go check out your social media. And so for you as a voice actor, again, it has to come to mind that if you you are known, or if you are known in social media, now your actions, if people were to look you up on social media and find that you're associated with a brand, or find that you are, you've done something that, I don't know, is not something that aligns with their, their
Right.
ethics,
Yes.
right? It can affect your business.
So in a way, Annie, it's kind of like we're blurring the lines of of our real reality
Yes,
of living a life as a person with our business and our performance career, that there is kind of that expectation that you sort of represent it all of your life. All of your life. And you're not going to go through anything that's antithetical to that image that is being put out there, which, I mean, for me, it's easy because I'm kind of like, I'm a mama type anyway. But for the average person, I think that would be hard. That would be a challenge.
Mama Law, Mama Law, would not go to a Coldplay concert and get yourself caught on the
Probably not.
Right?
Probably not. I'd be the person standing outside with food, waving my hand, going, "What did you do in there? What did you do?"
And we should bring that up, because there's another like CEO of of a company, and then the director of HR, the director of the people, what I forget what they call it now. I'm like, director of HR, no, people, CEO of people. Forgive me for not knowing what her title was, but
she was HR, wasn't she? The head of HR, like top HR, executive.
Yeah, I think PMO, is it people? I forget what it is. But anyways, see it,
Yeah.
So really, if you think about it, what did that do, those actions do to the brand, right? To the brand. Yes, they say all what is it? All publicity is good publicity. But do you think that this was good publicity for the company? No, I don't either.
I don't think there was any redeeming value to that. And that felt to me, it could have been happenstance, but it felt like a setup. It felt like someone tipped someone off to put him on the Jumbotron.
Oh, interesting.
It didn't just feel random. There was like how many people were there? 50,000?
I don't know. I don't think they were set up. I mean, unless you have somebody in the company that's like, well, I mean, first of all, you have to know the person that's, focusing on the Jumbotron and say, oh my God, wouldn't it be funny if, I hate that guy or whatever. But think about it.
I don't know.
Your actions in life, right, can be directly affected these days because of social media, because of the, now back in the day when I had to walk to school 10 miles up and down, there wasn't social media.
In the snow of California.
It was a little easier to get away with, I would say, indiscretions like that. But now,
maybe even now with being a voiceover talent, you've got that anonymity to some degree.
Not as much anymore. I'm saying not as much anymore. Remember, because voice actors, we're all about social media, aren't we? Because guess what? We need to get work. And what are we doing? We're trying to showcase our brand on social media. Right. And when you do that, you really have to be prepared for repercussions if you are going to voice a campaign, associate yourself with a brand that may be controversial and, something that is a concern for your business that may not have been so much of a concern maybe 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. It's true, because I think with probably the third generation now, or what would we say, maybe the second generation now, millennials and Gen Zers, who are digital natives growing up online on social media, like their life is on social media, so their lines are very blurred. Like I would say, arguably, our generation X, not as blurred. Like I know when I was younger, I used to think, oh, the Brady kids are really like that. Now I realize they're separate people, right? They're separate people than what they did in the sitcom. But nowadays, it's like, oh, everyone thinks that anything you do online is really you. And so it puts a lot of pressure on those people to say, okay, am I in alignment with the kind of brand that I want to have out there or not? And a lot of people will say, well, what do they say? All press, bad press, negative press is still good press. It's still good. I don't know about that. I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true.
I mean, in a way,
Who said that? Beyonce? Who said that? Someone big said that originally.
I don't even remember, but in a
I don't
way,
remember said that.
American Eagle is benefiting from the controversy. However,
Yeah.
there's really good arguments on either side of it. Again, they're promoting to a crowd, who are their best sellers?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. Because as I and you also talked about in the beginning, we have a certain familiarness with advertising from 30 years ago, right? 40 years ago. And so for us, maybe that ad was like, oh, okay, I didn't think anything of it. But then all of a sudden, because of the younger generation, right, who are like, hey, what is this? Or, or why, especially with political things going on, what do you mean jeans, like GENES? Is that, then it became a political thing. So I think that we have to be really, really careful as voice actors on social media to make sure that we're aware. Be aware, educate yourself, and be aware of what your voice, what your presence, what your social presence means to your business.
And I also would add on to that, Annie, that we just had a discussion because my group was in New York showcasing of actors. And I was really tough. Talk about mama tough. I was really tough in saying, listen, I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you don't go into your social media right now before you audition for those agents, those casting directors, those producers, and scrub your stuff, scrub it. Get reputation defenders. Do whatever you need to do to scrub it. Keep your ideas and ideals separate because you don't want to alienate people and their whole audience before you even meet them and audition for them. Do you? I mean, do you? That's really the question you have to ask.
Honestly, Law, you said one word that I think this is going to be a really good note to leave on. Digital. Digital. We are digital. We are digital. And
your footprint's there.
Digital is traceable. Just saying. Digital is traceable. Yep. Have you ever tried to and again, we've never really covered this in depth, but if you think about it, if you ever tried to make a comment and then delete it, and then did it really delete, or how many people took a screenshot of that?
Yeah.
Before you deleted it.
That's right. That's right.
Digital. And because we've gotten, again, on your phone, on your computer, just assume that people are tracing. I know, yes, you can get, it's not right, and I get that, but just assume and just, honestly, just be aware, and protect your business, protect your voice, protect your business, and protect your bossness, guys. Be a bossness.
and I'll leave on this note and saying, yes, and I'll piggyback by saying, even just for who you are as a person, be happy and content with the brand you're creating, because you're going to have to live with that for a long time. As long as you have your business, you'll have to live with. I have people, Annie, when I go to a conference or something, screaming across the room, "Hey, Mama, how are you?" If I didn't like that, I didn't want that, I'd have to change it. I'd have to really change it and make a concerted effort to do that. So be happy with what you're selecting and what you're choosing and what your audience is giving to you. And if not, strategize elsewhere. Redirect it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Lot.
Amazing.
Really interesting. Bosses, we would love to hear your thoughts, honestly. So, write us at the boss, AnnaVioBoss.com. We'd love to hear from you right in our community Facebook page. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So, Law, it's been amazing.
Amazing as always.
Big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect to network like bosses. Find out more at IPDTL.com. Bosses, have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week.
See you next time.